You're listening to Weekdays with Josh and Cole.
Perfect. Well, I guess biggest question, what got you started doing this play-by-play thing? I heard you with the Daytona 500 and all your wackiness there and all the craziness. What got you started with this fun play-by-play that you do every week?
Well, it was kind of an accident. I joined TikTok. My daughter kept telling me to join TikTok. My son, you need to join TikTok. You need to make some videos. You're freaking hilarious and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, oh, man, that stuff's for kids. So eventually I got tired of hearing it, so I joined TikTok. And then I made a couple of videos, and it is what it is. And then the Steelers and the Browns are playing one night. And old boy rips Mason Rudolph's helmet off and starts bashing his head in with it. And I told my wife, I said, grab the camera. I don't know what's fixing to happen, but this is fixing to get crazy. And I made a video, and I posted it. And about an hour later, it had 600,000 views. And that's when I realized that people want me to do sports.
All right.
And NASCAR being my favorite sport,
Yes,
I was
sir.
chomping at the bit, man, because that was like in October, November of last year. I was chomping at the bit the whole off season. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I got to get going. And then Daytona came, and I said, here we go.
So this is your first official year starting this play-by-play every week?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it's been great success. I love watching it every week. You are by far my favorite Twitter follow. I guess, is there really a conspiracy to silence some of your videos, though?
Oh, man. It's just, it's just having fun.
Okay.
That's all it is. It's having a good time. I actually just got through filming a 1-hour stand-up special. It's in editing now, and it's going to be in editing for a couple of weeks, and then we're going to release it. And yeah, I watched it and I was cracked up.
All right.
Did it. So it must be funny.
All right. Well, can I get a special preview, or can we get any fine previews anywhere? Or when will this be released?
Well, it's going to be a couple of weeks, but it's all about family and the crazy shit I did in high school. And there's a few shits in there, and there's a few, this, that, and the other. But yeah, it's a lot of fun making it. It was a lot of fun making it, and I did a lot of crazy stuff when I was young, and I mean extreme stuff. I talk about putting the school up for sale in this video. I put the school up for sale. I also talk about putting the principal's car, taking it apart and putting it back together inside his office, and some other things. I mean, it's really good stuff.
So is it safe to say you were more of the Kyle Busch as opposed to the Kurt Busch when you were younger?
Man, I was like way beyond either one of them could have ever imagined.
So is this Clint Boyer level then?
No, it's way. I don't think there's anyone that you could mention that would even be on the same level as the bullshit that I did on a daily basis. I mean, I gave a teacher a heart attack, bro. I made a teacher have a Vietnam flashback in front of her desk. I did so much crazy stuff. It is just, and if I like did a comedy special on all the crazy stuff I did from the age of 12 to 18, it would be 150 hours long.
Wow. All right.
Yeah,
So,
it's every day.
all right. Well, I'm looking forward to that special then. We got to get back to a little bit of NASCAR here, though. Cole Custer won the race. Chase Briscoe, though, he's another driver for Stewart-Haas in the Xfinity race. He's, ever since this quarantine thing ended for NASCAR, he's been just off the rails good. Is he going to be the next face of Stewart-Haas Racing with Cole Custer? Because I imagine Kevin Harvick is near the end of his career.
Kevin Harvick is getting toward the end, but he's still a hoss, okay? And nobody's going to tell Kevin Harvick when he needs to retire. It was just like Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, and Kevin Harvick's definitely along that status. So is Kyle Busch. You can't say, hey, it's time for you to retire. They retire when they want to retire. And I see Kevin Harvick going at least another 3 years.
All right.
I really do. I think Kevin Harvick is going long enough for his kids to really start to enjoy what he's doing. And now Kevin Harvick's son's racing. He just won a race.
Really?
He won his first race the other day, and he's just a little snot.
No kidding.
So they've got to make room for Chase Briscoe, but it's not going to be in that 4 car.
All right.
And it's not going – well, I don't think it's going to be in the 14 car either.
Okay. Well, we do have Matt Kenseth, and we got Jimmy Johnson, who's already said he is retiring. Matt Kenseth came out of retirement to drive the 42 car under unfortunate circumstances for Larson.
Yes.
Is that possibly an option for these Xfinity drivers to start finding a car? Because you got all these up-and-coming guys. They need to find somewhere to fit.
Well, I think the 48 ride's going to be accounted for by Keselowski.
All right.
When Keselowski came into Cup and signed with Penske, Rick Hendrick made it very clear that Keselowski would never get too far away from him. Okay? And I think this is the very instance he's talking about it. Now, you got to sit and think about something. Hendrick Motorsports, when Jimmy Johnson retires, who's their championship driver? They ain't got one.
Yeah, that's about it.
You cannot convince me that Hendrick Motorsports, Rick Hendrick, is going to allow Hendrick Motorsports not to have a championship driver in that stable. I don't think it happens. And so we're saying Chase Elliott, one of the other 3 has to win a championship this year.
Yep.
Or they have no championship driver, which has not happened since the early 90s when Terry Labonte signed on with Hendrick Motorsports and they had a championship driver in the stable, and they've had one ever since. So I think Brad Kay goes to the 48. The 42, I don't know, but I don't see Chase Briscoe leaving Stewart-Haas. I don't see them letting him leave.
Okay.
He is going to be really good. He's proven that. So I think you're going to find the 10 or the 41.
Wow. Okay.
And that's just – and I don't think it's going to be the 41 now.
No,
okay.
Kurt Busch, he's on a roll right now. Eric Almirola, this was except for Kentucky, that was the only glimpse of good I saw with Eric Almirola anytime lately. I feel like that'd be the next open car in Stewart-Haas.
I think so, and it is what it is. It's a very competitive sport. You know, you put up or shut up kind of deal. Kevin Harvick's put up. He ain't going to shut up. Clinton Boyer is Clinton Boyer. He's going to give you that 1 or 2 race victories a year.
Yes, sir.
He's a man's man is what he is. He's a good old boy. He's tough and he's rough, and he works in the garden. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think he's going anywhere. But I think the 10 car is going to have to open up because Briscoe's got to go. I mean, Look, you can't – Briscoe's going to race in Cup next year.
You can't keep him isolated in such a small series. He's going to expand no matter what.
Yeah. Now, could he go to the 42 team? Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, it could happen. He could be – there's a variety of cars he could be in, but we need him to be in a ride that's as good as he is.
All right.
He doesn't need – there's a lot of drivers that are better than the equipment, and there's a lot of drivers that the equipment's better than them.
Do you think this is Matt Kenseth's last year then, or do you think after the success he found, could he stick with that 42 car? You've watched him a little bit longer than I have, especially with NASCAR fandom. What do you think his intentions are now that he actually has a car that's back on the rails, it seems?
I think he may stay.
All right.
Matt Kenseth did not retire on his own terms, okay? He was basically forced into retirement, and you took a championship driver and forced him into retirement.
Yes, sir.
That always don't go so well. Now, I expected him to come back with a little bit more of a vengeance than he's had so far.
Okay.
But I'm not out there racing. I'm in my 40s. He's in his 40s. I'm not out there beating and banging, so I ain't got a dog in the race. I just really thought he would have come back a little stronger than what he has. But it may take a minute. You know, this is a very tough sport. It requires a lot of stamina.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And
Can you imagine 500 laps at Martinsville? If me and you just went and jumped in a race car tomorrow and we said, all right, we're going to go do 500 laps at Martinsville. Man, they would be dragging both of us out of the race car. They would have drugged me out at halfway.
Man, and the temperatures they've been running at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it sounds like they're about to pass out in the cars anyway. I couldn't get past that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But I wouldn't have made it to stage 2. You'd have probably made it all the way through the race, but you'd have been half dead at the end, you know, because we're not built to do that right now. and that may be what's going on with Matt Kenseth, is he's having to get his stamina back up. But he's a hell of a driver.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, two drivers that are having their tempers flared up a little bit is Harrison Burton and Noah Gragson. I really loved your commentary of this fight afterward. It was fantastic. I love the right hook. Perfect timing, too, with after the push. Love the commentary from Clint Boyer, because that's exactly what they were saying. Don't shove me, man. I'm going to shove you. But I want to get – what were your thoughts of that fight? To me, apparently Burton said that it was a long time coming for Gragson. So this was obviously built up for weeks at a time now. But this past race at Kentucky, it was just some good old-fashioned racing, bumper racing to me. I didn't see anything that really warranted that kind of reaction.
No, but I'm glad it did.
Yes,
NASCAR needs it, man. I'm telling you, the sport needs it. Back in the 80s and up to the mid-90s, they just get out and whip each other's ass.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it actually happened. I think it was at Daytona. I'm not calling any names, but there was a gun displayed one time.
What?
Oh, yeah.
When was this? Whoa.
This was way back
Can you explain a little bit more of this?
This was way back in the day, and I don't remember who all was involved, but I remember the whole situation. And, yes, they used to get rowdy with one another.
Wow. That is incredible.
It's just – I don't know why NASCAR insisted on getting away from the passing side of the sport, because that's really what drove the fan base back in the day. Is you could tune in on any given Sunday and you might see somebody get their ass beat after the race.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, it's like ding ding, round one just started, and I've watched Jeff Gordon get into it. I've watched Clint Boyer get into it. Kevin Harvick's done it. They've all done it.
Well, and I remember there was a time Tony Stewart had the best arm for throwing his helmet at cars.
Yeah. Now they want to fine you for doing stuff like that.
I know.
Back then they got the TV ratings up.
Yes, sir. So are you happy with this kind of show of a bit more passion inside of NASCAR? Because we even got Chase Elliott and his reactions with Kyle Busch flipping him the bird going around turn 3. That was probably the best moment I've seen in the last time. Do you like that direction for NASCAR?
I love it, man, because it's these drivers are just people. They're people that get pissed off, and when they get pissed off, they need to get out of the car and whip somebody's ass.
Yes, sir.
It's just that simple. I mean, I love watching that. Anytime now these are not major fights. It's not like anybody's going to the hospital and getting a bunch of stitches.
Yeah, of course.
But it's good to see the passion. I wouldn't mind them putting a boxing ring in. After the race, go ahead and have your gloves in your motorhome. And about an hour after the race, if you're still pissed off, let's ring the bell and get after it, and let's do it on pay-per-view.
I love that idea. That's probably the best idea I've ever heard. But it doesn't exactly follow the social distancing, though. And actually, I wanted to ask you that to kind of finish up this interview. What are your thoughts on this whole no fans coming to NASCAR? There's kind of let fans at some races. They kind of don't. Is that kind of the future with NASCAR? Are you going to be going to a race anytime soon?
Well, as soon as they'll let us get press passes, I'll go. And that's what we've been waiting on. Is I don't want to go to a race unless I got press passes. But it just sucks. The whole thing sucks. This whole pandemic sucks. If you'd have told me last year that this is the way it was going to be, as much as I know about this sport and as much as I've followed the sport throughout my life, I'd have literally thought you were crazy. And I'm the guy that told people 3 years before the point system changed that we're going to change. They're going to have a different point system, and it's going to be a playoff type system. And they all thought I was crazy. While before Dale Earnhardt Incorporated signed Michael Waltrip to drive the 15 car back in 2001, I told people it was coming, and they said, "You've lost your damn mind." But if you just said, "Hey, next year we're going to have some races, and there's not going to be any fans there whatsoever," I'd have thought, man, this dude has done fell off his rocker. But that's exactly what's happened. And all I can say about this whole situation, no fans, this, that, and the other, got to wear a mask, social distancing, is, oh, shit! That's all I can say.
Hey, that's the best words I can think of it. Thank you again so much for joining us and doing this, Randy. I really appreciate it. I love your Twitter handle, Randy the Plum 3, correct?
That's it. Yep.
Perfect. I absolutely love it. Do you want to plug a podcast? I know we already talked about your stand-up routine that's going to be coming out. Is there anything else people can keep an eye out for?
Well, I got my show Cautions Out on Garage Guys Fantasy Sports, and then we do another podcast. We did episode 179 last night. It's on Garage Guys, and we just sit around and act crazy and talk a bunch of smack. Act like we know what we're talking about.
That's all this show is. We just act like we know sports, and
fake it till
it's
you
whatever.
make it.
People listen to it, right?
Yeah, and did you know that there's a new racing series just announced?
No, I did not.
Tony Stewart and Ray Evernham have teamed up with CBS Sports to SRX races. It's going to be like 6 races televised on Saturday night on primetime on CBS.
All right.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah, they just announced it. Matter of fact, I just got off the phone with some PR people.
Okay.
About it, and yeah, it's some really good stuff.
Are we allowed any sneak previews or anything like that? What's the racing format going to be like? Is this dirt track racing, oval racing?
It's going to be sprint cars. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Saturday night, but it's going to be some really good stuff. It's going to be a lot of head-to-head competitions. It's going to be some of the best drivers in the world. I look for Cup drivers to participate in it as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much again, Mr. Randy. I really appreciate you joining the show. This has been a fantastic time. And if it's quite all right, I'd love to talk to you a little bit later in the season too when we get closer to the championship.
You got it, man.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it.
Y'all be good.